Ooh, sometimes going into business for yourself can be a very scary prospect. But did you know that there are actually gremlins in the machine? That sometimes even eBay is haunted? Well, we're going to talk about that tonight. Happy Halloween, everybody! Woo! But did you know that there are actually gremlins in the machine?
It works.
It's working!
Hey everybody, I am Prof Sales.
And I'm a version of Just Ask Kaaren.
And this is the Prof Sales YouTube channel where we talk about eBay, we talk about reselling, mindset, and apparently tonight we talk about Halloween.
We do.
We have no idea what we're supposed to be, but we're something different, that's for sure.
I always know who I am and where I am and what I'm doing.
I'm afraid I'm going to hit you with my nose if I turn to.
What?
Hey, guess what I knows? But anyway,
can we just start again, really?
I think this is from that movie we talked about, The Village, where they had the weird monster people that weren't really people. I don't know. I can't. That was a movie, remember? And what's his name was in it? The Phoenix guy, Joaquin Phoenix was in it. And
that was the Village.
Scarlett Johansson was in it, right?
Was that The Village?
I think it's called The Village.
So
and it had these old character things.
Nigel, it's after midnight for Nigel, and he's probably thinking to himself, I stayed up for this? Really? Yes, Nigel, you did. Happy Halloween from us, just for you.
Exactly. Hope you guys are having a good and safe Halloween. Hope you got lots of candy or whatever it is you're doing. So here we go. We're off and running. I don't know how long we're going to keep this on. I'm not sure I can keep it on much longer.
Oh, it's hot in here.
Yeah, I am not I'm not really a mask kind of person.
No, you're not a makeup kind of person, tell the truth. And we're supposed to have spooky guests tonight, too, so.
Yeah, we'll see.
Hang out for that. Whew.
Yeah, we'll see if they want to join us or not. So we sent out a couple invites, but who knows? Who knows? I keep using nose jokes.
I know what you're saying. Talk about real thingies, we promise.
Yes.
Oh, do I have to wear this the whole time?
I'm not even sure I can read with this. Is this the paper? Oh, yeah, here it is.
I can't even.
So, hey, there's Kayla.
Hi.
She's coming on.
So she is she going to have a costume?
Kayla, if you don't have a costume, you can't come on. No, we're just kidding.
No, she was part of the inspiration for the ghouly, ghosty, gremlin glitchies, right?
And that's true.
Because she was one of the ones on the list, right?
That's correct. So Kayla is joining us. And you might remember Kayla. She was on an interview we did with her as part of the Connect series. Was that Connect? Yeah, Connect series, where she talked to us about being a reseller and the struggles she's gone through and how she's trying to build her business. But tonight, she's going to join us, and she's going to talk specifically about a glitch. Because what is eBay if it's not glitching from time to time, right?
Glitches get stitches. That's what I wanted to call the show.
I don't think you knows what you're talking about.
It rhymes with witches, though. Couldn't we kind of do something clever?
Yeah, we could.
So what's going on with Kayla? Did you mute her?
No, I didn't mute her. She muted herself. But Kayla's going to talk. Kayla, are you there? Can you even hear us? The problem is we have to turn up the volume to hear her. Yeah, we could. Hold on. Kayla, can you hear us?
Yes.
Oh, there she is.
Her circle is going blah, blah.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of weird when you have that because the problem is we have to kind of, do you know where the earbuds are? We'll have to go get them.
Are they at your desk?
Yeah. So my lovely, crazy assistant's going to go get some earbuds so we can hear Kayla and not hear the sound echo back through the mic. But we're going to talk about glitches. And, glitches are a part of eBay. They're a part of any software. So, all right, this is going to have to go off. I'm sorry. Oh, look, it was me all along. Who knew? So, just so I can hear Kayla without everybody hearing. This is one of the problems with the Google Hangouts, I think, sometimes. Yeah, let me go mute my video here so I can hear Kayla a little better.
All right, so while you're doing that,
Yep.
every little person
Should be
that
good.
comes to our door, the first words out of my mouth are, "What do you want?"
Yeah.
I'm having the best time. So if the doorbell goes bing bong, I will away to give the candy to the little people because I delight in doing it.
Oh no, we lost Kayla. I don't know where she went. Well, maybe she'll come back. We'll send her a message back on Facebook. There's an issue with her camera. Oh, the issue with the camera. That's okay. We can do audio.
And you could send out other invitations still if somebody wants.
Yeah, if you want to join us tonight and talk about a glitch, message me on Facebook if you're friends with me or whatever. And I'll send you the Google Hangout link, and we can have you on the show for a moment. You don't have to come on the whole time or anything like that. You can come on, stay as long as you want. We can have a hangout with like up to 8 or 10 people, I think.
So listen, I was hoping that Chris, he's probably out trick-or-treating with his kiddos, but they did the merch show earlier, and all of them dressed up. Margaret had a red cowgirl hat on, and she was talking real Southern, and Chris was the best. Somebody called him Avalos.
Oh, gotcha.
But somebody called him Jiffy Pop Man. But basically,
Jiffy Pop Man.
He had tinfoil from head to chest. I mean, he was just like this big sun god of tin. It was quite something, and I was really hoping that he would come and be here because it was flipping. It was hilarious. It was funny.
So, all right. We're going to talk to you guys about different glitches that are on eBay that you may have run into. And let's define, what do you think a glitch is, Kaaren, when somebody says that word to you? What does that mean to you?
Well, I know what it's not. It's definitely not an operator belt mistake, right? We're talking about real ghosts in the machine here, not because you forgot to check something off, or we're also not talking about conspiracy theories. Everything that we have on the list tonight, and hopefully the real hauntings that we're going to talk about, are actual verified that have occurred within the eBay monster machine. So a glitch is something unintentional, usually with a negative outcome, although sometimes glitches could be good in your favor. I would imagine if you got paid way too much, but then you'd have to give it back. So a glitch is an unforeseen, unexpected bump in the matrix, glitch in the matrix.
That's a good way to look at it. And we have definitely had our share of them, but we would love to hear from you guys too in the chat, about specific glitches you've had. And some people are already writing in.
Oh, nice.
So we'll mention some of these. I had a glitch where my store wasn't there. Then wasn't showing up. So basically, like, your store wasn't showing up. I haven't heard of that one before, so that's interesting.
Ooh, that's not good.
That was from Sharking Mom Deal. So be curious to hear what changed, or how did it fix itself, or did you fix it? Ron says the worst glitch I experienced from eBay was when my PayPal payment acceptance was removed. It hurt my sales badly for a couple of days. Oh, man. And that's such a weird one, because it's not like you go in and do something to do that. Frustrating about them. And eBay's a huge corporation, and they've got a lot of things built into their system to protect us from these glitches and so on, but it's still going to happen. I mean, we can't always expect that there's never going to be any issues. It's just too many reasons. But we want to talk about a few of them tonight, and maybe what you can do to sort of fix them.
Well, and Joe actually brought up one that's a big one already on our list. So Joe, stay tuned. Yours is already number 6. And we had someone in our Rebels group that couldn't be with us tonight that posted an in absentia comment. So yeah. I want to bring that up, and then we'll get to it at some point too. So
yeah. So one of the first ones that we wanted to talk about, guys, was double listings. How many of you in the chat have ever had a double listing before, where you realized you had the same thing listed twice and you only had one of them? This has happened to me on several occasions, where usually it's a pair of jeans, and I think what happens here is when you relist it, sometimes the machine hangs and then it ends up relisting it twice, mainly because it gets stuck. And so it kind of goes back again and says, all right, I'm supposed to relist this, and it doesn't, but it's still got the other one sort of in the hopper, so to speak. And then all of a sudden, both of them are relisted. And you've got 2 of them, which you don't even know about until you sell one of them, and then you sell the second one, and you don't have it.
Well,
that's always good.
And you know what's a little also frustrating, like the real ghosty part of that? Can you remember like when we were doing research and we were looking into like people's stores and we were looking in, do you remember us seeing it twice on the same page?
Mm-hmm.
So here's the kick in the pants here, but not only does it really occur, like ghost listings, they come up and you get double listings for real. But because of how eBay loads and reloads in a search, you could be scrolling through, and maybe you've noticed this before, but you could be scrolling through someone's entire page and you'll notice this pair of jeans, exact pair, is down here. And you want to assume that it's there twice, but then when you refresh the page, it's not there. Like we've complained about that before, and even told friends, dude, you gotta double listing, when in fact it wasn't. So we know it happens, but then sometimes it pretends to happen.
Yeah, and you know, double listings is a tricky one to solve. Obviously, we realized when we did the inventory, we found a few. That is one way you can find them, because you're going to see when you do an inventory and you pull down all the items that eBay says you should have listed as a CSV file, a double listing, you're going to see, or you're going to see a listing somewhere where you don't have any product for it, and you're going to go research it and try to figure it out. That's one way. But it's a very time-consuming way. So you're only going to do an inventory maybe every once or twice a year. You can't do that all the time. It's just way too time-consuming. Mm-hmm. The other way you can try to find this is, depending on what you sell, this is tricky if you're somebody like a jean seller, for instance, is you can sort your list alphabetically and look for identicals. And when I mean identical, I mean on that CSV file from eBay, and you could throw it into Excel or throw it into Google Sheets, sort it alphabetically, and look to see if there's one that has the same listing and has the same inventory number, whatever your numbering system is. If you've got the same number twice. If you do, get a double listing. So then you can go investigate it and say, oh, item number 635, it says I have 2 of them, both with that, and they're the exact same thing. So you can go into eBay and try to figure out what happened. I've noticed this happen a couple times when I've had an item that I sold, it came back and I relisted it. It seemed to get listed twice again. That's kind of odd, but it has happened. And
when we did our last inventory, do you remember? We even found that one where it was it was the same set of photos that got put with, and it wasn't operator belt kind of stuff, but it was, remember that one, the same set of photos got put with a completely different, so we can't even, that one's not even on the list, but we can't even explain how or why that one happened. It just, on whatever day, August 17th, just like everything just went down.
Yeah, I think there is some problem too, that when you have a bunch of items fall out, items where you no longer, like they're no longer listed because they've expired, the listing expired, and you go to relist them. And especially if it's a big bulk of them, like 30, 40, 50, 60 of them. I had one day where I think like 110 fell out the same day, and I had to relist them all. And I'm like, oh, this is taking forever. And I did them the bulk relisting tool, but still it took a while because I wanted to change a few things with pricing and so on. I think that's where the issues come in too, because that system seems a little glitchy, that bulk edit tool, especially when you have a lot. I don't know what a lot is exactly. Once you start getting above maybe 20, 25, it starts errors here and there. Somebody says you can search your store in ISDN Tech and it will show you all your double listings. Oh, never heard of that one. Sounds interesting. Let's see. Thanks so much for the super chat, sir.
Happy Halloween, Rob. Where's your costume? Why aren't you here down there with us?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. He could come on.
Yeah, send us a message, and you don't even have to show your face. You can just be.
Yeah, it can be audio.
Whatever.
We're inviting people to come on and hang out if you want.
If you're brave enough.
And Krill and Rob asked, did we give up on suits and blazers? No, we still have some listed. We're just not sourcing a lot of them right now. I don't know. No real specific reason. It's just not as much on our radar at the moment. We definitely have great opportunity around here. Luke, is still out there killing it with those too, but some of the same stores. But
he doesn't leave anything for us.
Yeah, no. He doesn't leave anything. That's right. Kidding. He's up so early. I don't know what we know, but we just haven't. It just hasn't been on our radar as much lately. Let's see here. Check your listing totals daily, and every time you add more to listings, double check the listing total. Yep, that's a good tip too, Duncan. It's a little time consuming, but you know, if it stinks to sell something twice and you only have one of. I'm telling you, like that really stinks, and it's happened to all of us. If you've been in this game for very long.
And you know what, Brian? Neither are we, so that's not an excuse.
Interesting.
Just roll with it.
Yeah, let's keep going on that one. We're not gonna give that one any more airtime. But all right.
Happy Halloween.
So glitch number 2. We're only on number 2. We're like 20 minutes in. This is crazy. Quantity count. I put on the sheet of paper, quantity count resetting to the original number. Okay, so
we've talked about this.
Yeah, say you have an item that you have 10 of. One listing and you list a quantity of 10, and then you sell a couple. And then you go back and relist that listing. Sometimes it relists back to the original total. So it'll say that you have 10 again. Now that's a really tricky one to find because you're not going to know that. Let's say you have until you sell, you know, the 9th and 10th or the 9th one.
Well, and a lot of people, like we have a couple multi-item listings, but some people, that's all they do.
Right. Yeah.
And that, talk about time consuming. Like if you were to bulk relist all the thingies, right? Yeah,
for sure. And you know, so that's one that's a known glitch. I don't know if that's really been fixed or not. Not fixed. So I'm always very nervous. One way you can get around that is list good till cancel when you have quantity count listings. Now I know not everybody likes to do that, but that theoretically keeps it from getting reset, but I'm still not sure that it does. I still feel like, because even a good till cancel technically gets relisted every 30 days. Even you just don't see it. Although I had one yesterday, I forgot to tell you this. I had a bunch of items that fell out that, you know, were they expired. And so I was going to relist them, and one of them was a good till cancel. And there it was, expired, and
not really.
And maybe the system just hadn't caught up to it and relisted again, because that is what happens with GTCs. But I think it had fallen out overnight, so it sat there for several hours. And I find that odd that it would take that long to go back in and re-index my listings and find that one and relist it, and it didn't. I just sat there and thought, what should I do? Should I list it? I was a little worried because I thought if I relist it right here, is that going to list it twice because it's a good till cancel and it thinks it needs to be already be listed, so it's going to list it again? Or is this what I actually have to do? It was a little confusing.
It was a bad listing. Get it? It was good till cancel, but it was bad. It's very bad.
Yes. So watch out for that on quantity count listings. Your quantity can get messed up after you've sold some. It can get reset to the original total that you initially entered for the listing. Definitely a tricky one to catch. Let's see. Let's see what else we got here. Okay. Promoted listings is messed up. I recommend you repost what you have. Yeah, we don't even have that one on here, and that one, you know, eBay told us that promoted listings had a big glitch with the reporting since the beginning of September. So basically your reporting was not correct. You didn't know if it was helping or not. I'd say now with promoted listings, it's still a new thing. I think with promoted listings, a lot of people would say it hasn't really helped their sales. Whether you know what the reporting is or not, there hasn't been a big bump in sales. So I think the jury's still out on. I think eBay still got some work to do on that tool. Mm-hmm. But you know, try it if you want. I did for a while. I'd see like a little bump right at the beginning and then kind of nothing. But again, that could just be because the reporting was wrong.
And thank you, Adam. You're my favorite. Adam thanks us for having a special Halloween show. And I told him earlier that it was all his idea, so he better be here. But Adam is always a positive force in this chat and in our Facebook group. So we adore you, Adam. Thank you for everything. And for that super chat. That's awful sweet.
There you go. Okay.
What number are we on?
Number 3.
This was supposed to be like a quickie. Okay, so number 3 is when it says that the seller is not accepting payments right now.
You ever had this happen to them when somebody went to buy something from you and they couldn't because it gave them a message that said the seller is not accepting payments right now? Mm-hmm. I've had this happen. I haven't had it happen recently, knock on wood, but I have had it happen several times in the past. And the funny thing about this is the buyer will message you and say, hey, I want to buy this pair of 7 for All Mankind jeans from you, but it's saying you're not accepting payments. What gives? Here's the funny thing. The real issue is with the buyer. And that's the problem. And so PayPal will tell the buyer, it's usually something wrong with the buyer's account that PayPal doesn't like. Mm-hmm. But it tells them the seller is the one that is not accepting payments. And that's really confusing. Like, that's a glitch in and of itself, like who it's telling, because now as a seller, if you've never run into that before, you're wondering, what's wrong with my account? And I've gotten on the phone with eBay probably 2 or 3 times on that very specific issue. And every time they told me, it's the buyer. The buyer needs to contact PayPal. The buyer needs to figure out why they cannot submit funds to you. Because I will tell the buyer, I'm like, well, everybody else is buying from me. This is weird. Like, why can't you? And I'm going, well, maybe something is wrong. Maybe it's just now showing up. Maybe it is. It's not.
Yeah, and I can remember the first time that ever happened, Jason was like, what? What do you mean I'm not accepting payments? And you were freaking out. Like
I'm like, I didn't change anything.
The matrix was broken or something. And then we thought it was a bogus email confirmation or something, because like, how could that be possible? So yeah, it's confusing, but know that that particular one, it's not you. This time it's not you. It's the buyer.
It's me, not you. It's the whole.
It's
a whole George from Seinfeld. You don't know that show, but anyway. I just threw that in there. See how I did that?
Yeah, that's what you do.
Here's another one that maybe you guys have run into. Your items don't show up in search. That might be the most serious one.
It might be a problem. Well, especially if it's something that there's only ever been one of. Like, we've run into that with a couple folks lately where they're like, no, dude, it's like the only discombobulated lilac sensory deprivation chamber hoodie lamp thingy mabob, right? So it's the only.
I want you to say all that again, exactly the way you said it. We're going to check the tape.
It's the only one ever of its kind. And when somebody says that, we're like, yeah, whatever. But they're like, no, really, it's one of a kind. I put it up and I can't find it anywhere.
Right. Yeah,
it happens.
I mean, the only way to fix this, guys, is to get on somebody else's computer. I would even get on somebody else's Wi-Fi or cellular and search for your listings. Like, try to find something that you know should sort of show up. Maybe you've got something very specific. Because sometimes what you're seeing through your computer, if your computer has, your history and your browsing history, it's not always what everybody's seeing. But this has happened to sellers. And ultimately, if your listings are not showing up, if your items are not showing up in search at all, you've got to call eBay. Like, that is something that you cannot, you don't know how long that could go on for. That could go on for a while. And they're going to be able to better advise you if there is anything specific on your account that is wrong or is causing this issue. I don't think I've ever had it happen to me, but I've wondered about certain items from time to time they got really low views over a period of time when a very similar item that I would have got a lot of views. And I find that strange. Like, I would list obviously selling a lot of jeans, for instance, we would list 2 pair of jeans that were pretty much the same day, and one gets a lot of views and one does not. Right?
Are we interjecting? Because Adam
Go ahead.
Brought up another one that's not on our list. Like, when items are on a promotion and they don't show up on a promotion. Like that, we've heard people, there's this whole secondary school of thought about the whole promoted listings and what they do or what they don't do, and where they show up and where they don't. But sometimes, you promote them and they're not promoted.
Well, that goes back to, this promoted listing idea. If they're being pushed across the platform, it's kind of hard to know that. Like, it's kind of hard to know that if somebody is searching for a Calvin Klein belt, that they might see your Calvin Klein jeans, you know, on the sidebar.
Yeah.
Tough to know. Like, how are you really going to know that? Theoretically, you should be able to see impressions and views and things, but since the reporting has been broken, so I would just, you know, I would just wait on the promoted listings problem. I would give it a little more time for eBay to sort of
work the
bugs out. It's like when the new iOS comes out for iPhone. You never get it the first day. It's always a mistake. Like, you're going to have bugs and flaws and issues and errors and security breaches and everything else. You wait a little bit, you know, because they'll put out a patch. They're like, oh, we didn't realize that was a problem.
I wish I never updated my iPhone. I miss the simplicity of iOS 1.1.
Really? What did you miss about it?
Oh, hush.
Yeah, exactly.
And Adam, slow down. You should have been on this side, and we should have been in the chat. He's like throwing all these glitches. We pulled them from our Facebook group, most of them.
It's amazing how many glitches people are talking about.
Yeah, and when you're new, it could be a little intimidating and a little frustrating. But just, I think what we want you to get out of this, we're doing a lot of it, haha, funny, but glitches happen in the world. Most of them can be corrected, right?
Right.
And you just have to stay on top of your listings and your thingies.
Trust the Data, aka Rick. Hey Rick, how you doing? Says, I think that's you. It's your picture. I just bulk edited all of my listings yesterday to make them mobile friendly. Not sure if it helps, to be honest. Yeah, that's not really a glitch per se, but if your items are not mobile friendly, they're not showing up on a mobile device the way you think they are, and the majority of eBay buyers now are buying on mobile devices.
And you know what's interesting about that? Somebody posted a suggestion on how to fix it. And it's a very task intensive. You have to copy and paste a link, and you have to make sure it's black and not colored. And apparently there's no way to do that mobile friendly from your mobile device.
There isn't, yeah.
You have to do it when you're listing on your laptop.
Yeah.
There's an
checker.
instant checker. Like, you do it and it'll actually show you. Well, when we list, we do it, and it does. I mean, it looks like it.
It looks like
works.
it looks like it works, but I've even seen some glitches with that before.
Glitches on glitches. Oy.
You know, yeah, and that was Rick. That's what I thought. That's who was talking about it. Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, and even there, it's like you're still going to have some problems with
That's
it. Like,
Shoe Rick?
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Rick.
So
I can't see.
Rick. That's not actually his name, but all right.
No, but that's how I remember you, and I adore. You're just such a thoughtful, thorough person. So
yeah.
I'm loving you in the show
it was
group.
Great.
By the way, that's very cool.
No, that's great, and mobile is something you have to master if you're going to sell on eBay, because, as Adam says, almost 2/3 of the buyers shop on their mobile device. You need it to look good.
Dropping the stats, Adam.
All right, here's a new one, and I don't think we have Kayla back on yet.
Aww.
Unfortunately, she was unable to get on. But she was going to talk about this very specific glitch. I had not heard of this one ever. Like, this was a new one on me.
And actually, when she suggested it in our Facebook group, folks went on and they're like, "Oh my gosh, that is happened." And so that accounted, they think, for their recent slump, right?
Yes, she was not getting sales, right? That was the story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, her sales were dead. Oh wait!
Ah!
Holy!
Oh my gosh, she's scared me.
Hold on! I can't hear her.
Oh, sorry.
You're going too loud. Golly, and you probably just busted everybody's ear. Kayla, can you hear us?
I broke it.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Oh, that's awesome.
Okay. Can you see me?
We can see your avatar. We can't. We saw you for a second, but we can see your avatar.
You want your earrings?
No, it's fine this way. We got it fixed.
Okay.
Listen, we were just getting to the part about the glitch that you brought up the other day, and this is like perfect timing. Couldn't be any better timing. So if you want to talk about that, this would be the perfect time.
Well, can we talk about webcam glitches too? Apparently, I have never used the webcam on my new computer, and it does not want to work with Windows 10. So thankfully, I did this show so that I know that. So if I want to do anything in the future, I have to figure it out. But we moved houses, and before we moved, we did a lot of work on our house, and I wasn't doing a whole lot on eBay because I just did not really have the time. And so after we moved, I kind of, you know, cut the store off for about a week or so, and I got back into it, and I noticed that I really hadn't had very many sales. It was like maybe 3 sales or something a week. I mean, it wasn't very much, and I've been painting every surface in this house, and I just have not had really time to list. And so, and thankfully, it's not something that I depend on solely for my income, because my husband works full time. Otherwise, that would have been a disaster. But I was looking through my listings, revising some stuff, and I had kind of changed some stuff around, and I noticed that on some of my listings, there were no exclusions, and I don't ship internationally unless I use a GSP. I just don't. I don't want the drama of lost packages and stuff internationally, and I know I'm missing out on sales, but I mean, I have to put a limit on what I'm going to deal with at some point, and so I just use a GSP. And I noticed on some of those listings there were no exclusions, so it would sell to anybody, and that's not how I have them set up. So I changed that, and then I was going through more because I was really getting rid of a lot of just dead stuff and just kind of starting over. I don't have very many listings in my store now because I've been just kind of trying to purge the stuff that's stale. And I noticed on some of them that North America was excluded. And it was like more and more and more of them were North America. And I'm just like, what is going on with this? I mean, I don't know how I haven't made any sales at all. And I know I personally did not do that. So I went into the seller dashboard to the exclusions and looked, and sure enough, it was excluded on all of them.
So
I don't know how that happened.
Selling to anybody in North America, basically.
No, I wasn't selling to anybody anywhere. Every single box was checked. All the other countries, Alaska, Hawaii, which I assume would not even sell to them because of the North America thing, and APO and the protector. It's like I wasn't selling to anybody. I really don't know how I made the sales that I did. And I guess it's just a glitch. I have not taken the time to call eBay and ask them. I don't really know what good it would do, but I don't know how that happened. So I went back through and changed the settings there, and then I've been slowly looking through new ones as I do them to make sure that it's not checked. And then also, I had made some drafts a while back, and I was going through them, taking pictures and putting those with those listings in. I noticed that North America was excluded on those old drafts too. Wow. And I mean, that's something that you physically have to go to your seller dashboard and change. Like, it's not something that I accidentally checked, because I wouldn't even really open that exclusions box.
Right.
You know, normally. So, I mean, I kind of have my own way of doing things. Like, if something's going flat rate or if it's going free shipping, then I will not exclude Alaska, Hawaii, and the APO addresses. But if it's going just a flat shipping fee, I don't sell to those. Now, if somebody messaged me, I would definitely change it to calculated shipping and let them buy it. And that has happened quite a few times, but like, I don't do calculated shipping on everything, and I don't feel like it's fair for me to charge enough to ship to Alaska from Louisiana, and ship to Texas at the same time. Like, I don't want to charge enough to cover both places, so I just don't. And so, you know, there are times I just have it set where everything except for North America I thought was excluded, and then I'll go back in and change it for the stuff that's going to go flat rate or first class. I mean, that's something that you have to go into your dashboard to change. You know, it's not something that you change on every listing or you determine on every listing. It's got a preset, like, default, however you do it. So I don't know how that happened. But it was really, it was really irritating, because I'm like, how many sales have I missed out on just because that was checked?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because Duncan VR is in the chat and says, postage policies have been known to change automatically to, just like she's saying, North America excluded. This happened to me as well. So apparently, this is one of those that's out there. That's a rare one. Like, we haven't heard of that. But I mean, you can imagine shutting yourself off from Canada, United States, and Mexico. And
well, I did, I have experience also. I heard you say a while ago about listings showing up that that you don't have listed and they just somehow list again. Now, there may have been things that I did like that and it's my fault, but there has been a time or two where I know I did not relist that item.
Right.
And it's listed and it sells and then I don't have it. And thankfully, most people understand, but that still doesn't help, the fact that you get kind of dinged for it when you have to cancel something that you don't have. Especially if it's not something that I could go to Amazon and drop ship to somebody. And most of the time the stuff that I sell is not something that I could do that for.
Right. It's something unique.
Yeah.
And it's so tough because a lot of these glitches we mentioned tonight, you literally would need a glitch checklist to go through and see of any of these. And it's so time consuming. Like you don't have the time to go through and check all this stuff. I mean, that's a lot. Even what you did, it's so rare. Like that's probably not going to be an issue for many people. But
I'm
Aaron
really
says
glad that I could bulk edit, because otherwise it would have taken me too long to do that.
Yeah. Aaron says the North American exclusion only refers to Bermuda, Canada, Greenland, Mexico, and St. Pierre. So maybe there was. It's weird though that those things changed seemingly without any input from you. Like you didn't do anything different to change them. But
and once you changed them, did sales improve, Kayla?
Yes, they did. Now, also I will say I have been listing a lot more over the past day or two because I mean this is a terrible confession, but I have a basic store. So I have 250 free listings and I have like 70 left today because I have not been listing anything. So I was like, I need to use as many free listings as I can, because I mean, I feel bad that they're going to waste. But then also, I got to the point where I just could not do everything and trying to move.
You've been a little busy,
and all that. It's been a lot. So, I was trying to do that over the last couple of days. It's like, and I got to get something listed. And I did see improvement in sales. I think I sold 5 things yesterday, which was way more than I have been selling. So I don't know if that has to do with me listing or if that has to do with me changing everything. But I think after I changed that, I want to say I sold 2 items not too long after that. So I don't know if it's coincidence or not. I just thought it was odd.
Well, that is a crazy story, but it doesn't surprise us because there's a lot of these glitches out there. Thanks for sharing that too, Kayla. You're welcome to hang out and contribute as well. We're gonna talk about a couple more glitches, and people are in the chat, just talking about. I mean, there's so many glitches. I don't even know where to start. Like it's like who knows? But we have found too that, and we've heard that the Markdown manager, which I guess is getting retired or phased out, is sometimes leaves items out of sales. I can attest to that one. You can say put your whole store listings on sale for 10% off, 20% off, whatever, and then some just aren't. And there's just no rhyme or reason to it. And you're going, what happened there? And I swear every time they drop out, like if their listing ends and you relist it, it seems like the Markdown manager misses them a lot of times. Them on the back end where it says, oh, that's one of the whole store items. I should apply a 10% discount to this. Nope, it just doesn't do it sometimes. It just says, nope, full price again. Deal with it, people.
And you know what? When that happens, did you guys know that it makes a sound?
What?
It sounds like this. Ah!
True. That's true. That's kind of the sound of it. I didn't know where she was going with that. It took me a minute. But she's right, because it's just like, oh.
Because you're in another room, I'm in another room, and I'll know when it's a gremlin in the machine, right? Because all of a sudden I hear, ah!
I know, because I'm like, seriously? Come on, get it. It's so frustrating because, like, relationship with eBay where we're sellers and we know there's buyers on the other end, and eBay's the company, and they've set these rules in place, and we do our best to follow them, but we also have certain expectations of them as a company where we expect them, all right, if we do these things, you will do these things because you said you're going to do them. And when they don't do them, it's very frustrating, you know, because you put a lot of time and energy into building your business and working on it and your listings and so on, and you expect them to have on the back end a product that does what they say it'll do, just like you're trying to do what you say you will do. And I know they make mistakes, but some of these seem to be systemic, and that gets a little frustrating sometimes. Like a lot of people.
That's a good big word.
Systemic?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, what's wrong with you? But
it's Halloween.
Well,
what else is here? What
I'm
else is
fixing to go, y'all. I hate to interrupt. And go put the kids in the bed. But I have never sold anything on a sale. I know people say, I've heard people say that, oh, run a sale and it like shuts their store down. I kind of feel that way. And I'm not like one of those conspiracy people, you know, but I don't know what it is about it. It just never works for me. And maybe I don't know what I'm doing, but it doesn't ever seem to help me. And I haven't run a sale with a markdown manager. Now I've done like the promoted listings where you sell a percentage. Never seemed to help me either. And it may just be what I'm selling. I don't know. You know, I don't know if it works better for people who have more of similar items. Most of my items are different. So if I were selling, you know, jeans and I ran something, you know, buy 5 pair, get another pair free, or, you know, free shipping on whatever, something like that, it might help me more if someone would be buying more than one thing. But most of the time when I sell stuff, I don't sell 2 different kinds of items to someone, or really even 2 items to someone, because everything I sell is so different that I don't normally have it. So maybe it would help me if I sell more similar things, but I don't.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know. But I'm not like one of those people, oh, eBay's, you know, out to get me or anything like that. But the sales just never seem to have helped, you know.
You just got to keep struggling through and figuring out what works. And
and it's, you know, it's different for everybody, what seems to work. So you just got to do what works best for you. And it's kind of one of those things where I think you constantly have to be trying something different, you know, on certain things that just don't seem to work, and, you know, it might work for a while and then it doesn't. So, and like I said, I don't know if it was a coincidence for me. Hey, I finally actually listed something and it, you know, it made me have a sale or not. I don't know, but it just seemed very coincidental that it all started back up again. So anyway, but I wanted to say thank you again for allowing me to come on, and maybe we can do this another time. And it was great to be here. I'm going to go see what everybody's doing and put my kids to bed. So.
All right, hug the kiddos for us.
Thanks, Kayla.
I sure will. Good night.
Take care.
Bye.
Yeah, that's, you know, having those issues where all of a sudden your sales die and you're wondering why. There can be so many reasons why. And sometimes, a lot of times, it's because of something you've done or haven't done. Maybe what you're selling, your pricing strategy, seasonality. But sometimes there are legitimate and that are causing you to struggle. So you kind of have to go through process elimination. I forgot to say it while Kayla was listening, but if you're having those issues where your sales are down and you don't really think there's anything really weird going on, call eBay. Call them. And they don't want to hear you say, oh, my sales are bad. Why can't you guys fix your platform? What they want to hear you say is, hey, I've noticed a drop off in my sales. I just want to make sure that everything's good with my account. On the back end, you guys see that everything is working correctly. There's nothing that's changed in my business policies or excluded a continent or whatever, you know, from selling to, so that they, you know, they can check some of those things for you. And they may say to you, they're likely to say to you, no, everything's fine, but at least you tried. And occasionally something really is wrong, you know, and they can address it, but they're not going to just do it for you. They're not going to just, you know, fix your store if for some reason it's not showing up as a store necessarily. They're, you know, you got to take action and call them and let them know. And they're very nice. Has been my experience when you're nice to start with. So.
Well, and it's not a glitch necessarily, but Thomas brings up an interesting idea that other folks, and his is a little bit more laser focused. But first thing in the morning, he puts up 5 auctions on his low-hanging fruit, his low-price stuff, and it does wonders for his sales, he says. And we've heard that from people before, you know, using the auction item to help stimulate sales, right?
That goes back to the idea that I'm starting to become a bigger and bigger believer in, is that eBay likes change. They want to see you doing something in your listings. Maybe it's listing new items. Maybe it's putting up auctions like you're talking about. Maybe it's changing pricing on a bunch of items. They want to see change. And I think that algorithm, maybe in search, maybe in visibility, I think it rewards change. Like it rewards things changing with your store, with your account, with your listings. I can't prove it, but it kind of makes sense to me. They would want sellers like that rather than sellers who just throw stuff up and never even pay any attention to it again. Not saying you won't sell those things, but just something to keep in mind, something to, you know, to try.
The data seems to support this.
Yeah, one other glitch you might run into, guys. We talked about double listings. Listings might be removed without you knowing.
the number one glitch in the matrix.
But someone brought up earlier, you could verify your listing count each day versus, and then, you know, subtract out what sold the next day and just kind of keep a running track. The only weird thing about that one is if you have unpaid items, you got to remember to count those, because that will throw you off, because it'll look like they sold, but they really haven't sold because you haven't gotten paid for them yet. So don't forget about those unpaid items. That one trips me up every once in a while, because all of a sudden my listing count from what I think I should have is different than what eBay says. And then I remember, oh, I've got these 2 or 3 unpaid items over here that I'm still waiting for payment. And therefore, you know, my listing total is actually correct, even though I thought it was way off. So always keep that in mind as well. So, oh, we have a visitor.
Happy Halloween!
Oh, jeez. And you thought I was loud?
The internet is now deaf. So.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. So Ben, he's having a good Halloween.
He is.
I was just with ladies, that's why.
I don't know if that picked that up, but that was pretty funny. Let's see what else is going on here.
He was working at the soup kitchen.
You're right. Auctions also bring you more payments. Yeah, if you have a store, you get free auctions anyway. You might as well use them. Yeah, that's a good point.
Good point.
If you have a store, you might as well use auctions because you get them free. Where's Ben's costume? He was going as a teenager.
I was a clown.
You're always a clown.
He was a
How is that any different?
he was a clown, he said. I'm not sure what that means.
I'll send you a picture. You can post it on your Instagram.
Perfect.
Plug for the Instagram.
Perfect. What is that face for?
I don't even know. It's never a dull moment around here, I can tell you that.
Yeah, so always be on the check for your listings being removed too. Check that item count to make sure it matches up with what you should have. So if you started yesterday with 100 and you sold 5, you should have 95. If you've only got 94, something's wrong. There's a problem somewhere.
Well, and it's perplexing because you always get caught up when it's off. Always check that if they've paid or not thingy, because that's when it doesn't match up. Like you've gone back and forth and then been like, oh, it's because this one is just hanging out in the nether.
Yeah, it's waiting for payment. So, all right, what else? What else we got there?
We have a show and tell.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. Don't show address.
I'm not going to show the address.
So yeah, don't show that end or.
Well, I can show that, can I? It shows how much.
Sure.
Okay, so we got a jean return.
Jean return. Jean return.
I wouldn't let, and I wouldn't let Jason open it because I was hysterical when I got it. We'll get jeans in all kinds of containers, right? Like shoe boxes or big old party mail envelopes,
right.
The Gushy envelopes, or the big boxes or whatever, where people pay way too much, right? But we got this. Is this a media box? A book box?
No, it's a small.
It's a small, really?
Yeah, small.
It's not
small that far.
All right, so, and that's how much they paid to return these jeans, right? Over $7. But this is the box, and I have to put my finger over it.
Oh, you got the end. Okay, yes.
What are you doing?
Just do this side.
Oh, so.
There you go.
So we got them in one of these boxes, right? And it's been crammed in there. And I wanted to open it, but I don't have a knife.
Apparently now people send jeans back in small flat rate boxes. That's the first one I've ever gotten back like that.
and I'm afraid I'm going to open it and something's going to come jumping out.
Don't stab yourself with a knife. She's
I'm
like,
not going to
doing this with a knife, like, because that's a good idea usually.
It's Halloween after all. I got this. Go talk about something. Don't worry. Don't pay no attention to the woman with the knife.
Right towards her leg.
I'm wearing jeans.
Rookie. Wearing jeans. That's what everybody says right before they stab themselves with a knife. I'm wearing jeans. What could go wrong?
Just talk about something. Don't worry. Don't look at me.
All right. I hope it's jeans in there. We don't even know that for sure.
Right? Like it's something not good. Just go on.
So, yeah, we get returns, all kinds of returns in weird boxes from time to time, but whatever.
But like I'm halfway thinking that I'm gonna like open these in this pair of like 50 longs or something.
Yeah, so you can show them like that. Show them like that. Show how they're packed in there.
Oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
So look, like sardines. Like we should hire this person, like for real. Aw, it was
Why is that on there?
Because it was, I don't know, maybe that's how they crammed it.
Yeah, so there you go. So jeans will fit in a small flat rate box.
Aw, these were we've had these for a long time.
But that's $7.15 to ship, so not as cheap as a padded flat rate. Don't put them in there.
No, and these are a really small pair. They're
yeah,
like
what size are they?
25.
25. So they're a really small pair of jeans.
Yeah, they're a little 7 fam action going on.
Yeah, they're very small. But anyway, we just wanted to share that with you guys. We hadn't opened them. We just got them. I think we got them yesterday. But.
Yeah, and I was like, no, you can't open them. We gotta like do it like live, just in case something goes awry.
I know. VR says at least the box wasn't full of sand. They sent the jeans back. That's a good point.
Oh, that's a really and you know what? At least they're our jeans because I remember those. They're like an.
But that would have been kind of funny if they were full of sand. Would that be like Indiana Jones, in Raiders of the Lost Ark, where he sets the sand on the thing and takes the statue so it'll keep the weight on there and the trap won't come down. But then the trap does come and the big rolling boulder comes and he barely makes it out. Anyway,
so I should have opened that box in front of you, like in your lap, in case there was a big rolling boulder. Like, what do I get out of that?
Oh my gosh, we should call this off.
I think so. It's close.
Speaking of jeans, guys, thank you so much if you ordered the 101 Killer Women's Jeans Guide. The pre-order period just ended, but the guide is still for sale. It's at regular price. It's still a great value at $59.99. There's a link to it down below. You get 101 brands that will sell for $25 and up. Lots of other info. There's a glossary in there, jeans diagrams, jeans measurements, what to look for, demand levels, scarcity, all kinds of things.
And then the best part is a super secret Facebook group.
Yes, you get to be part of that only if you purchase a guide. And I'm active in there all the time. Kaaren is active in there. Steve is active. Some other people. And we're there to support each other in terms of buying jeans. It's just about jeans. Like that's the point of the group. So that's going to be the only people that, are going to have access to it. And it's only going to be about that for the most part, like buying and selling jeans on eBay. So
I'm so excited.
That's as niche down as you can get.
All denim all the time.
Yeah.
So excited.
So if you're interested in the guide, it's in the link down below in the description. And like I said, it's a great deal. And I think that's going to do it. So
put it back on.
All right, guys.
Thank you so much. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Thanks for joining us tonight. We hope you enjoyed this show.
And we hope you know something more than you did before we started.
All right. So I'm Noseface.
And I'm the comedic, witty saying good sales and happy Halloween to you.
Halloween to you.